Kinata, if you come out, what? If you go up Rukiat. Lovely. Okay, so this coming from my brother Sedem. He says, bro, until we the citizens change our mindset, Ghana remains the way she is. I've always eaten local rice from way back. We need leaders who will ensure our laws and policies work. We need to be domestically minded. Okay, so welcome, bro. Loving the show. Thank you so much, Sedem. Domestically minded. We need to be domestically minded. Average Ghanaian is not. And that is bringing us into time management. We're going to have the discussions. Like I always say, Mondays are personal growth and development Mondays, as always. And Tuesdays are for health and wellness Tuesdays. And then also on Wednesdays, science and tech Wednesdays. And then Thursdays, arts, culture, and tourism Thursdays. Fridays, our business roundtable. And we're privileged to have a senior manager, corporate communications, MTN Ghana, and host of Timekeeping Dialogue series, Georgina Asare Fiagbenu. She's come to discuss goal setting and time management. Like I said, if you are the type who never has time for anything, this segment is for you. Or you're the type who has more task than time, or more time than task. Whichever one. We've got you covered. Good morning, madam. Privilege.
Good morning.
It's a privilege to have you.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Always. I mean, it's a big deal for us. So to have someone to come discuss such a huge topic is actually a big thing. First of all, Timekeeping Dialogue series. What is that?
All right, so good morning to your listeners once again. And as you said, my name is Georgina Asare Fiagbenu. I lead corporate communications for MTN, but I also do the timekeeping series, like you said. So it's a conversation that we hold every month to talk about timekeeping in Ghana. And one of the things I pride myself in doing is looking at how I can use my profession, which is communications, to also promote social change. And so my husband and I, used to have all these discussions about how, this GMT plus Ghanaman time. And we gradually started an advocacy on timekeeping in Ghana. How we never keep time when we have events. We never set time when we have events. So you go into an event, it starts at 9. You get there. People are now hanging banners and they are now setting up. And then you are told that the event starts at 9 and it doesn't tell you when it ends. So sometimes you program to be in an event for 2 or 3 hours. You end up spending the whole day there. And of course, all around us, we see that there's a very blatant violation of time and timekeeping. So it's an advocacy series. It's a conversation. We invite people, and we do it on Zoom, and it's also broadcast live on Facebook on my own page. And we have discussions. So we had a lot of very interesting people, Amwabe, Professor Kaufman. We've had Nana Kwesi Jana Painting from the Media Commission, Mrs. Okran. Just the last one we held, we had Ben Duce Malo from the UN, okay, and Kirsty Angsman from Germany. And in that conversation, we're looking at timekeeping in the diaspora. So for Ghanaians who are living in the diaspora, how are they looking at time? How did they adjust? And what have they observed in those communities? And what do they think we can do better in Ghana? So it's a conversation we hold every month.
Oh, okay, it's monthly.
On Sundays. So people eat their fufu and we sit down and we have a conversation. We are getting, some attention.
Some have said that you can't really manage time. It is managing yourself. And so the phrase itself, time management, is actually an anomaly. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, yes, you have to manage yourself, and you have to make good use of the time you have, which is why you have to manage the time you have. And so our view is that time is a resource. Just as you have money, you have water, you have the environment, you have your life. You know, everything that is a resource has to be managed because it's not unlimited. And so if you have 24 hours, that's the time you have. You can't stretch it to 26 hours. And if you have a full day, that's what you have. If you have a full month. So time is a resource that has to be managed. And in as much as you manage yourself as a human being, you also have to manage time. Otherwise, let me say, time will mismanage you. Let me put it that way.
Okay, so let me say this particular discussion, we want to focus on goal setting and time management. That's what we advertise. And so want to provide listeners with practical strategies to as it were, enhance their productivity and achieve personal and professional goals. So we want to start with a goal setting bit, and then we dovetail into how time management helps do that. So what is the importance of setting clear goals? Why is goal setting such a big deal?
Well, goal setting is very important because for every human being, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of wishes, we have a lot of desires, we dream about a lot of things. So, I mean, when you are going to bed, you have something in mind. When you wake up in the morning, you have something in mind. At work, as you sit here, there are a lot of ideas that will run through your mind about the things you want to do and about the things you want to achieve. Not all of them are goals because not all of them can be achieved. Some are just ideas, some are fantasizing, and some are, ideas with a driving force. That's how I see goals, you have some passion. It's something that you really want to achieve. So you will have like 1,001 ideas every day, but one or two of them will be something that keeps coming to you. And so a goal is a desired outcome. I would say that a goal is a desired outcome with an action behind it and a deadline. Okay. So it's something that you desire would happen, but you've got to put an action in it, and it also has a deadline. Otherwise, then it's a wish, it's a dream. You can dream from morning till evening. You can dream all your life to be a president. Is it something that is going to be achievable? Once you put a deadline to it and you put an action to it, then it becomes, or be prepared to put an action to it. Because at the time you are setting the goal, the action will not be there. But once you say, I want to be a radio presenter at ZFM by mid-July, then you set yourself a goal. It's very clear, and it's important that your goal has to be clear, because if your goal is not clear, then how do you even know when you achieve it? So, and I'm glad that you said, how do you set clear goals? So a goal must be very clear. That clarity is very important. And I was just listening to a video, one of my favorite videos that I listen in the morning. She was saying, when a goal is clear, the answer is near. Because you've got to seek that clarity. You have to be able to fine-tune it and be sure of what you want. Otherwise, sometimes people say, I want to be this and I want to be that. And it's not, you ask the person, you probe, and the person can even tell you what their dream, what their goal is. So it has to be very clear, and it should have a timeline so that, you know when you want to achieve it.
Talking of timeline means, therefore, that you can have short-term and long-term goals.
Sure.
Okay. Well, and the difference being that one is going to take a longer time.
Yes. And so for goals that are easy to achieve, there are goals that you can easily achieve, or goals that are time-bound, and that is why time is important. It's really important that we are having this conversation and combining it with time, because there are goals that take longer to achieve. So as I sit here, if I say I want to do my PhD, and I haven't started my PhD, then I should know, for example, if PhD takes between 3 years to 5 years, or it takes 3 years, then you know that it will take you 3 years. You can't sit here and say, I want to get my PhD in media studies by September. That's not achievable. Okay. So that's a long-term goal or a medium-term goal. And then I can also say that I want to be able to maybe lose weight, maybe lose 5 kilos in a month. That's a short-term goal. That's something that I can do within a month. And that is the reason why your goals need to be clearly defined. You need to know whether it's a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, or a long-term goal. You can have a long-term goal of becoming a president of Ghana in 20 years. And so if you are 40, how do you live your life? What do you need to do? Who are the people you need to, meet? Which associations should you join?
Which party should you join?
Which party should you join? Or better still, which university do you want to attend? Because in the Western countries, some people may say, well, if I attended this university, I will meet the right kind of people who will help me, when I'm doing my fundraising and all that. So you may think it's not important, but all these things play a role in defining what your goals and your objectives will be.
We're told that if you set big goals and then you break it into smaller goals, how does that work?
Yeah, so when you set goals, you should also have some milestones. Okay. Especially even if it's a short-term goal, I think that it's important to determine what the milestones would be. And so you have to break them down. And so when I talk about you doing your PhD or a first degree, so you are in the nursing training and you want to be a graduate nurse. And so, for example, you did your SHS and you went into nursing training and you want to get your degree. So it will take you 3 years to get your degree, you have to break them down. So if you are starting from year 1, you know that you are in 2024. By 2027, I should be a graduate nurse. Okay, then I now have to look at the 3 years. What do I want to do? The first thing is to determine when you want to start. Okay, so I'm starting in September. And then you break it down. So by the end of next year, I should have finished first year, second year, third year. I need to buy a form first. So you can't sit and say, I want to be a graduate nurse, and you sit down and wait till January 2025 and say, oh, well, I put it on my to-do list. It's part of, what do we call it, when we are starting the year? And we do our list
the to-do
of
list.
The to-do list. There's a favorite name that people call it. Anytime the year begins, people will say we have the list of things they want to achieve. I've forgotten it. There's a popular name for it. But you do that and you never look at it. And before you know, 2 years has passed. Hey, I said I wanted to be a graduate by this time. You haven't broken it down. You haven't set any milestones. So it's important to set milestones. So even if I say, as I sit here, let's say I'm 60 kilos and I say I want to lose 5 kilos by end of July. I can't just sit down and wait till end of July and then go and weigh only to get to know that I've put on 5 kilos.
Mr. Ezekiel said, New Year resolutions.
Yes, that's exactly.
Mr. Edu, thank you very much.
Mr. Edu, thank you. I don't know why we all so we all do New Year resolutions and we say, oh, 2024, we are all excited. 31st December, we are all excited. Then January 1st, then we all sit down, we go to church, we pray, and we think about all the things. I want to get married at this time. I want to get a new job. I want to lose weight. I want to do this. Then we say them. In the first place, about 90% of the people may not even write it down. And a goal is something that you need to write down. You have to document it. Because if you don't, it just becomes a wish. Okay? How do you keep it in your head and monitor it? So it's important for a goal to be written and documented. And some will even say, put it at a place where you will be seeing it very often. And so, people advocate for having a vision board. So, for example, if you have your room, you can have a small corner where you put your goals, 2025 or my journey to 2028, which are your big goals. So you have your goals there and you look at them every morning, because every day as you take steps, you are walking into those goals. And if you lose sight of them, before you know, the time has, passed and you don't have it. So the first thing about goal setting is to write them. You clarify the goals, you set the deadline, and you put it at a place. I would say monitor it. Okay, and the good way of monitoring it is to put it at a place where you won't forget. Because if you put it in a notebook, sometimes you even forget which notebooks. I have a lot of notebooks. I have my working notebooks. I have my, appreciation journal. I have notebooks near my bed. Anytime I get an idea, I'll write it. So you have our 3 or 4 notebooks, and you can't even remember where you wrote them. You can't remember the color in which you wrote them. So it's all blue prints or black prints. And, I wrote my goal somewhere and I can't even find it. I mean, it means you are not even committed to it.
Okay.
So it's important to document it, but most importantly, put it somewhere that you remember. If it's that notebook that you have where you keep all your goals, that's fine. You can easily, go to it. Otherwise, you can put it in a little corner in a poster. It doesn't mean it should be all over the place, but I mean somewhere that you can connect with and keep going back.
Okay, this SMART criteria, is it still relevant in this day?
Oh, sure.
Okay, as being specific.
Yeah.
What?
Measurable, relevant, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Yes.
Okay. That also then ties into our conversation that we're having. How do I apply the SMART framework to personal and professional goals?
Yes. So like I said, for every goal, you have to clarify the goal. And so being specific is the point at which you clarify. So what do I want to achieve? I want to be a graduate nurse by 2027. That's a very clear goal, But if you say, I want to be a nurse someday, well, it may take you 20 years to be a nurse. You'll be a nurse, but it will take you 20 years.
Yeah.
So when you set the goal must be aligned with your personal vision about where you want to be in life, okay? Because, you don't know how long you are going to be alive.
Okay.
And you pray that you grow older. But I believe that's the beauty of setting the goals, because it sort of keeps you in track. Okay, so you have 3 years to do this. You have 10 years to do this. And you break it down. And so when you are sitting somewhere just joking and eating and laughing and giggling, at the back of your mind, you know that you have a goal. Other people also have their different goals. So being specific is putting the timeline to it and even clarifying that goal. What kind of nurse do you want to be? Will be a good one. Someone will want to be a midwife. Someone may want to be a theater nurse. So you need to clarify your thoughts about exactly what you want to be based on what you believe is your purpose in life. That's how I will put it. So if you want to be a teacher, you can be a nursery teacher, you can be a graduate teacher, you can be a university teacher. So I want to be a teacher in 5 years' time. But it's important that you be specific. I want to be a graduate teacher. I want to be a science teacher. I want to be a French teacher, because that determines what action you put into it. So that's the first one, which is being specific. Then it has to be measurable. So like I said, how do you even know when you get there? You have to be able to measure impact or outcome. And that is why you have to clearly define it so that you can measure it. Then how it has to be achievable. So as I sit here, if I say I want to be a space engineer, here I am, a communications person. I struggled with my physics and chemistry. I never understood physics. And that will tell you, I don't even remember the name of my physics teacher, but I will remember the name of my English teachers and all that. So, is it something that is achievable? Okay. So if I want to go to space and I'm sitting in Ghana, is it achievable? I want to be a space engineer. What will it take to be there? I have to do science. I have to go to this university. I have to do A, B, and C. So I know that, no, I don't like science. I don't like physics. I don't like this and that. So it's not something that I can achieve. Then I can rewind and say, okay, is it that I love flying? Is it that I just want to go to space? Well, maybe I can visit space, but I don't have to be a space engineer. Okay. So it has to be achievable. If you are sitting here and say you want to do your PhD and you haven't even started your degree, is it possible to do I'm talking about an end PhD, not the one that, shows up and people say they have PhD. Well, if it's conferred, someone even has to confer it on you, isn't it? But if you want to work on it yourself, you know that you haven't started your first degree, but you have to do your PhD. It will probably take you 8 years to do, or 10 years to do that. You have to do your first degree, do your master's, and do your PhD. So that's when you set, the boundaries and ensure that it's achievable. Yes, you can do your PhD in 10 years, even if you haven't gone to the university, as you sit here.
Yeah.
So you define that. And then, is it realistic? So we've spoken about SMAR. That's the realistic, as I sit here, I want to be the president of the United States, not president of Ghana. Is it realistic? Is it achievable? Well, it's not a realistic goal because I'm not a U.S. citizen in the first place. I've never lived there. But is it realistic to be a president of Ghana? Yes, because I'm a Ghanaian, I qualify. And it's something that I can do. Okay. And then the time bound. So when do I want to be a president? Can I be a president in 2024?
No.
Probably, yes, no. I mean,
the nominations have already gone.
It's gone, exactly. So that's a perfect example. That's not a realistic goal, But I can say I want to be a president in 8 years' time. And next do I want to be an independent candidate? But that's a realistic goal. Yes. So the SMART indicator is something that you can't miss for everything you do in life. I think it's important, whether you are setting goals, whether you are defining your goals, whatever you do in life. I think the SMART guide is something that you can't do away with.
That's interesting. Prioritizing task. We're told of certain matrices that are used. There is this popular one, the Eisenhower matrix, where they speak about what is urgent versus what is important. So obviously, when you put those two scenarios together, you would have urgent and important, urgent but not important, not urgent but important, not urgent, not important. Now, if you break into these four, how does one apply them in one's professional or personal life?
Well, I think everything we are saying, for me, I apply them in my personal life as well as my professional life, because sometimes it's even difficult to distinguish the two. Your personal life drives your professional life, and vice versa. Your professional life also drives the way you run your personal life. Yeah. So I think the two are intertwined, and you can really run them along the same lines. And so I would say that if there's something that is not important and it's not urgent, so something that is urgent, something that has a specific timeline, and usually the timeline is very strict and it's also more immediate. There's some urgency or immediacy to it. So let me not use the same word when defining it. So it's urgent because it's immediate. And it has a timeline to it. And the timelines are usually strict. Something that is important is something that is of value, that, will bring you results and of course, has to be done. Something that is not important. Sorry. If something is not important, it means it's not important. It's not of value. It's not bringing any positive impact. Let me use the word positive, because you can do something that will bring impact, but the impact may be negative. So let me use the word something that is important is something that will bring you an outcome that is positive. And something that is not urgent and not important. Let me start with that. If the thing is not urgent and it's not important, then you don't even do it in your scheme of things. You can do it in your leisure time. So, for example, if you are watching movies, you have Netflix. I've scheduled to watch. There's a new movie. I think a new movie was premiered by Lewin over the weekend?
A Country Called Ghana.
So A Country Called Ghana. Then I put it on my to-do list. I have to watch A Country Called Ghana. Then I get into the office. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock. So the meeting at 10 is important. And it's urgent because it has to be done at 10 o'clock. So as I sit here, if it's 9:30, that meeting is urgent. It has an immediate effect. And I have to attend that meeting. So, for example, if I'm attending that meeting at 10, I have to be there in that meeting at 10 and log in. Okay, so that's urgent, and it's
it's
also important.
Okay.
So if I have something doing in the next 45 minutes, so as soon as this interview is over, if someone called me and said, "Oh, Gina, can we have breakfast at Labadi or at it's on your way at Africa Regency Hotel at 9? Can we meet there at 9:50?" And the person calls me, having breakfast in the morning with a friend that I haven't seen probably for 10 years. It's cool.
It becomes urgent.
It becomes urgent, but it's not, for me, it's not important.
Okay.
It's not important. It's a social thing. I don't have to use my office hours to do it. So is it important to go and have breakfast with a friend that I haven't seen for ages? Okay, it's urgent, but for me, it's not important. It's a nice to do. So in life, you have to determine what is a must do
and a nice to do. Some things are nice to do. It's nice for me to catch up with a friend who is been in the US. She's gone to Harvard, blah blah blah. But it's not a must do. The must do is my 10 o'clock meeting with my supervisor, who is going to run me through. Perhaps it's a monthly meeting. And she's going to review the work that I've done in a month. It's important, and it's also urgent at this time. And so we've clarified what is urgent and not important, what is urgent and important. Yeah.
What is not urgent and what is not important is my movie, Lewin's movie, The Country Called Ghana. He
wouldn't be too happy with you, though.
No, I know he will not be happy, but he should be happy that I cited it, and eventually I plan to watch it.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't have to watch it during my office hours. Okay, so after office hours, I may have a meeting, a women's fellowship meeting. It's also important that I attend, but that's at 7 p.m. So for now, as I sit here, it's not urgent. I will do it at 7 p.m. Okay, but then the movie at wherever they are premiering it, if it's 8 o'clock, for example, I can go there and watch it. But for me, I can watch it also in the comfort of my home. So I'll put it in my urgent but not important. No, not urgent and not important. So I'll probably cross it from my to-do list. It will not even show up when I'm going to bed and I have time, or I can say during the weekend. Sunday after my fufu, I can relax in my couch and watch it. Okay, so that's how you approach things. You have to determine, like I said, what is a must do and what's a nice to do. It makes it very easy for me to determine, what is critical for me to do, what is urgent, what is important, what is not important, and what is urgent and not important. Sometimes someone will call you, and say, Mr. Ma'am, can you come quickly? And then they'll be, oh, what is it? Oh, come and look at this thing for me. I'm putting something together to a proposal that I'm submitting. And the person, oh, can you come now? He's made it very urgent. Okay. But he says, I'm sending a proposal. So your question would be, when is this proposal due? When do you have to send it? Oh, no, I respect your point of view. I know you are very good with writing. You're a great communications person, so I want you to look at it. Then the person says, okay, so you ask the person, when is it due? And he says, oh, the deadline is at the end of June. But you see, I'm putting my thoughts together, and I've done my first draft. I don't want to be late. I want to cross to the second milestone. And so I want you to look at it now. Okay, because tomorrow I'll be busy and all that. Yes. So the person has created that sense of urgency for you. But is it important to you?
Okay.
It's important to that person, but is it also important to you? Okay, so sometimes you have to look out emergencies or urgencies that people have created for you. I used to have a boss who would say, don't you let your lack of planning become an emergency for someone. Don't let your lack of planning become an emergency for someone. So, for example, this friend who calls you and says, oh, can you come now and check this document for me? And so I'm going out. On my way to the office, the person says, oh, this is really urgent for me. I'm submitting this proposal at 10 o'clock at the World Bank. And I just remember that, oh, Gina, you're a great communications person. I should have run this by you. I'm sorry that I'm bringing this to you late. But you have to look at it at 9:50. Just take 10 minutes and look at it before I submit that proposal.
Won't this, if you adopt this time management and goal setting approach, Gina, would that not make you a bit ruthless in terms of your human relations?
Oh, no, I think it doesn't. It just makes you someone who is, should I say, principled, and someone who is also very organized. That's the word I'm looking for. Someone who is very organized.
How would this friend take it if, after all these years, she said, just pass by small, just 10 minutes, be keke?
Yes.
And you say, no, Charlie, I have to go and meet my supervisor.
Yes.
Is this person not going to look at you like, our Gina too? Just come and meet me after all these years.
Yes, but that's how life is, you see. If you are very organized and very principled, you look at most of the successful people in the world. People really, they are not people that, are fun to be with. I'm sure if you went to Bill Gates, you went to read about him, or
Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates,
Steve
Jobs. Steve Jobs was actually legendary in that line.
Yeah. So people saw them as weird and awkward and people who don't have a social life. Okay, because if the person wants to, break through, and they are sitting for hours developing their strategy and probably developing a template for some work that has to go, do you think that person will be sitting there for you to say, oh, just pass by for 10 minutes? Yes. They will probably schedule it and say, the only time I can come is during the weekend. Or I can come on Friday afternoon. I have a little window of 30 minutes. I can do that. But your lack of planning, because you should have called him earlier for him to schedule it. But you scheduled it and you knew that you were going to submit this today, but you chose to call him 10 minutes before your deadline. It's important to you. It's urgent and important to you. But to that person, it's urgent but not important to him, because the person has to be in some meeting that is also very important. So that's what I'm saying. Some things are nice to do. If I did it, my friend will love me and say, oh, Gina, my friend at the last minute, oh, Jimmy cannot buy, but then you've also lost something. You've lost the slot with your boss, which is important, which is tied to your income and your salary and your day job. So which one of them? Will you do the one that you must do, or the one that is nice to do?
Interesting. You wouldn't make too many friends if you go with our approach. But your friends will like you. They will admire you, but you wouldn't be too popular when they are doing most popular person.
They may not like you today, but they will admire you and even like you later.
Yeah.
When you achieve your goals.
It's 22 minutes to the top of the hour 10. We're in the studios with Georgina Asare-Fiagbenu, and she is Senior Manager Corporate Communications, MTN Ghana, and also the host of Timekeeping Dialogue series. We're having a good chat on goal setting and time management. When we come back, we're talking about time blocking and scheduling. And then we'll ask you about tips for minimizing distractions and staying focused right here on Z in the Morning.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Okay, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we continue the conversation on the time management and goal setting.
Hello CEOs, the 8th Ghana CEO Summit and Expo is set to take place on May 27, 2024 at the Kempinski Hotel from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Since 2016, the summit has led impactful business leadership. Renowned for satisfying CEOs' needs, it offers actionable perspectives, strategic insights, and business opportunities. This year's theme is reigniting business and economic growth, charting a path forward, economic diversification, and artificial intelligence transformation. The summit promises CEO business cases, high-level dialogues, masterclasses, keynotes, and plenaries. The event is also a platform for the Ghana CEO Excellence Awards, celebrating outstanding business leadership and innovation. Former distinguished guests include President Nana Akufo-Addo, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and ex-President John Mahama. Secure your spot at GhanaCEOSummit.com and contact 0546 391 970 for enquiries and sponsorship. Powered by the Ghana CEO Network in collaboration with Deloitte, PwC, Ministry of Public Enterprises, GIPC, and Multimedia Group. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay. So we're back in the studios of Z101.9 FM. It's Personal Growth and Development Mondays, and we're having a wonderful conversation with Georgina Asare-Fiagbenu, and it's about goal setting and time management, time blocking and scheduling. What is this whole thing about time blocking and scheduling?
Well, I mean, I don't think we have to be theoretical about it. If you just think about the time, the word blocking. Blocking means setting time apart for something and sort of defining when you want to do it. So it's just an activity or a strategy of blocking time for specific things. Okay, so for example, you can decide that you've blocked time for this morning's interview. Okay. So you have your calendar and you schedule the things. Make sure you schedule every single thing you want to do.
Nothing else should come into that space.
So that's how people block time. So now you even are able to block people's calendars. You block your own calendar. You can go into your email and block time and say, this first hour, I'm having this interview. Second hour is meeting with my boss. So you have the specific blocks of times in between, and you make sure that you don't distract from it. And of course, scheduling is scheduling appointments and all that, so it's usually put together. But just to be very simple about it, you should have your to-do list. So sometimes people even say, oh, I don't even do my to-do list because I never follow them. But then if you don't have a to-do list, what will you be doing? Because in every specific day, there's so much to do, or there may be little to do. And that is even the reason why you have to do your to-do list. When you don't have anything doing, you should say, for example, I'll save 2 hours for reading, I will watch this movie, I will do this. So whichever way you look at it, you need time to eat, you need time to sleep, you need time to do an activity. And for people who are very busy, who want to achieve, and because we are talking about goal setting, I'm assuming that we really want to achieve something, because this program is actually for personal development, isn't it? So you need to block time. Blocking time means you set the time aside and you ensure that that is what we do within that time. So someone will say, does it mean that even if you are dying, you will not change it? No, that's not what it means. It just gives you that discipline. Okay, so it gives you the discipline. You have your calendar, you have your schedule, you have your to-do list, and you decide which one should come before the other. Okay, so there are some things that you can't really compromise on. You have an interview at 9, it's 9. You have a meeting with your boss at 10, it's 10. Things like lunch and leisure and taking walks, these are things that you can work around. Okay, so for example, in my office, I don't have a time for taking my lunch. I can take it at 12:30, it can be at 1, it can be at 2, depending on what I have to do for that day. So what will be someone's lunch time, which is 12 to 1? And it's not bad to say that you always have lunch at 12 to 1. That's also part of the scheduling. Okay, and you can say that if you work for every 1 hour, you take a break for 5 minutes and walk around the building. These are all very important, because you can't sit for 4 hours in a stretch, 5 hours. Sometimes people sit the whole day and they say, oh, I'm very busy, I can't even get up. So you sit the whole day and not even stretch for 5 minutes. So it would be good to block out all these times and schedule them. And like I said, it starts with your to-do list. You must visualize what you have planned for the week and put them in writing, and then now begin to break them down into daily activities.
Interesting. It's 9:45. We're still here. Z101.9 FM. It's Personal Growth and Development Mondays with Georgina Asare-Fiagbenu. We are having a great chat on how to plan. How destructive are distractions in setting goals?
I don't know how to process how destructive are distractions. Yes, they are just what they are, distractions. And distractions keep you away from your goals. And it can come from anywhere. You can be a distractor to yourself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because, if you don't focus, are you not distracting yourself? Sometimes people come to work and, they like to go around and talk to people. Oh, how are you doing? How are you doing? Then it takes you 2 hours to settle down. Are you not a distractor to yourself? You are distracting yourself. And you can have others distract you. People come to you, like I said, with their emergencies. Or it may not be an emergency, but they have planned that today this is what I want to do, as against what you also have to do. And so they come to you, you are in the middle of a speech. For those of us who do communications, you're a speech writer, and you may have a timeline. So you are writing a speech for a CEO, you need absolute attention. And you are working in an open office where, everybody sees you and they see that you are available, you are seated there and you are working. And the person comes. Sometimes people even ask you, oh, can I disturb you for a minute?
So they know they're about to disturb you.
Yes. Okay, so that's why I'm saying if you want to be organized and disciplined, you may not be the favorite of everybody because the person comes to you, but you have a strict deadline. Sometimes your boss will say, oh, can you look at this? I have only 15 minutes to go into a meeting. Or you may tell your team member, oh, can you review this? I'm taking this into a meeting in 10 minutes, but I want someone to look at it for me. So you take a look at it. You go and come back and you see the person chatting and giggling. Okay, clearly the person has been distracted by a friend who says, oh, this is pineapple. Oh, yikakwe. Then you stop the work, you take the pineapple, or you get up from your desk or see, oh, veggie bread, maybe the chicken be but then you get up. Before you know, you are standing there and chatting. Then your boss comes, oh, Adiana Washe, have you reviewed? They say, oh, sorry. I forgot. Then you go and sit down. Then just as you are just about to finish, another person, no, but you need to focus and say, no, I'm sorry. I need to get this done in 10 minutes. Can you come back in 30 minutes? Or can you come back in 15 minutes? I think the challenge with some of us is that we are too nice and we want to be everybody's friend. And we never want anybody to say, oh, wait your chair, oh, this lady is too something. If you really want to achieve your goals, you can't always be nice because sometimes you have to say no to some people.
So someone has said that. Someone has said, sorry to cut you, that if you want to be liked by everybody, go and sell ice cream. Okay.
And even then, I wonder whether you'll be liked by everybody because if you are selling ice cream and the ice cream is 10 cedis. The last time I was born, I went to the mall with my sister and she said she wanted ice cream and I asked how much it was and they said 49 cedis. And I said, hey, ice cream keke.
You see?
Obedi is 49. Yeah, but the ice cream seller didn't say, oh, I want you to love me, so I reduce it and sell it at 20 cedis.
Even the ice cream seller
cannot be liked by everybody. It's not possible.
Please ask Gina how to handle people who can waste your time and still not appear the least concerned.
Oh, yes.
How do you handle people like that?
You just handle them the way they have to be handled.
Like
just saying no to them. Just telling them. So, yes, you have your friends who will come to you. We all do that, You remember something and you go, oh, Betty, same way. Hey, and Rami say, I did be a then you want to chat. But then the person can tell, oh, please, can I, oh, you call lunch and now I can't share me.
I won't give you the information again.
Okay.
We want
then,
to give information.
Yeah, there are
hot.
people who say, oh, I used to have a friend. Oh, not I used to have a friend who would say, oh, so there no, yeah, there, yeah, feka. Obi, I may my hear me who say me can't say much. Yeah, but you have to tell the person this is not the right time. I'll listen to you. Or sometimes I tell people I'll call you when I get back home. Okay, so people will call me and say, hey, nam pese me ni udi nkomo. And then I'll find out from them, is it urgent? Is it critical? Is it an emergency? Nam pese me no discuss BB. Then I'll ask, can I call you? Okay, it's me fair after 7 when I'll have more time.
Okay.
Or I'll say, oh, my main fair between 6 and 7 when I'm driving back home, because you probably will waste like 2 hours in traffic.
So
this is the time that I will push on my way to work. I push a lot of calls into the traffic. I live outside Accra, close to Nsawam, and it takes me almost 2 hours to get to town. And so that 2 hours, I make sure that that's when I'm doing my calls, cross-checking things that by the time I get to the office, I should be very focused. Okay, so you don't sit in the traffic and do cho for 2 hours and just listen to radio. It's good to listen to radio. But you do cho and get into the office, then you have a long list of calls, and then you are now cross-checking information that you need for your work. I would do that in traffic.
Okay.
Either on my way to the office, and then the ones that are non-essential, the social calls, I'll push them after work. And so on my way home, then I'll now, anopa no friend me mentimi amfa. Afena may fail back. Then the person, then you can joke and laugh for 1 hour. That one is non-consequential. It doesn't affect your day job.
Procrastination. How does it affect goal setting and achievement?
It's sort of, we've said that procrastination is a dream killer, isn't it? Yes, it will kill your dreams, and we all fall into it. I'll do it later. Something that has to be done now, you do it later. And if the thing is very critical, it's important to the achievements of your goals. So like I said, if you have to buy a form because you want to go to school and become a graduate nurse, and you know that the form has to be bought this week, and you don't buy the forms this week, that's procrastination, isn't it?
Okay.
And it will kill your dream of getting into the university this year.
Exactly.
So before you know, the deadline, I should have done it.
Too late.
And sometimes you lose money. It happens. You have an investment that has to be encashed. You need to follow up at this time. And you probably lost the time. So you lose the money. Okay? It can be an interview that you've scheduled to attend. And the person can give you a slot and you say, I should have checked my mails, but you didn't check it. You were supposed to check today, you didn't check it. You checked later, 3 days later, only to realize that you had been scheduled for yesterday and you missed it. So something that has to be done now has to be done now. If it has to be done at the time that you've scheduled it, it's important to do that. And that's why scheduling is important. Because once you put it in your calendar and you put a slot to it, you are most likely to do it, okay? But otherwise, if it's just there in your mind, I'll do this today, tomorrow, it's not written. It's not documented, it's not scheduled, then you can easily let go of it.
It's been an interesting conversation, but before we let you go, Madam Georgina, let's find out. You've worked with Ghanaians and other nationals and all that. Do we, or does the average Ghanaian appreciate goal setting and time management?
That's a tricky one.
Okay.
I won't say that it's difficult. It's a tricky one. I think Ghanaians come in different shapes and sizes, and there are people who are really focused. And you work with people who are very focused and they do what they say they will do at the time they say they will do it. And you also have those who are the happy-go-lucky ones who, don't really care. They will do it, I'll do it tomorrow, and keep on, postponing and postponing. So yes, you always get to work with a mix of people, some who are very focused, time-driven, goal-oriented, and you see them achieving their goals. And there are some who also, anything that comes their way. And sometimes some people will even tell you, as for me, I can work with anything. Anything goes for me. I'm not really very strict because after all, what's life? Why do you have to worry yourself? You have people who have that attitude. So there's always a mix of people that you come across.
That's quite interesting. Ghana time, is it on the low or is it still at a plateau?
I think Ghana time it's what it is. But I think there are also people who are really set to distinguishing themselves even when it comes to time management. So, for example, in our timekeeping discussions, one of the people who have been highly recommended, almost everybody talks about them, Uncle Ebo White.
Okay, yes,
People always talk about him, and when he has his programs, he's always on time. I've worked with the Okrans. They normally will keep to time. I am an ICGC member. If you go to Christ Temple, they always keep to time.
They do.
They mostly keep to time, depending on, the usual church service, they keep to time. When you have greater way, sometimes, of course, you have some excesses. And there are very good examples of companies and people who stick to time. But generally, we know that we are very laid back when it comes to keeping to time. And all of us, one way or the other, get caught up in it. And we are trying to be better.
9:56, she's Georgina Asare-Fiagbenu, and she's a senior manager, corporate communications, MTN Ghana, and also the host of Timekeeping Dialogue series. We've been having a discussion on goal setting and time management. Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a great honor. Have a nice day.
Have a great day too.
So it's all too soon, 4 minutes to the hour of 10. Taking a bit of a great conversation today. Monday started with some not too good news, but we've ended the show on a good note. Go set the best of times and make things happen. If you are the type that would do the task more than the time and the time more than the task, there you have it. Right here on Z in the Morning. Please, before we go, as always, I want to leave you with this statement. Pray like it only depends on God, but please work like it only depends on you. That's grace, and that's great. Right here. We'll do this again tomorrow, people. Have a good one.